do last week in this game?
Clasco's on. So we're on the Celsius.
Clasco.
Clasco.
Wasn't there a strong bad email or something where I don't know if it was Clasco or some other name, but it was very similar in my failing memory. But it's him typing out the name because the person like typed in all caps. I think it was Clasco, and he was just like, "Oh, okay, hello there, Clasco." And anytime he says his name, it's just like Clasco. I think of that every time I fucking talk to Clasco.
Dear Strongbad, how come you never let the cheat answer any emails? Let's go. Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Which in this episode ended up being a fucking lot. Because let me tell you, I loaded up my save from last week, and I was going through the 100% Steam achievement guide, and it was like, completion percent at this point should be 13.
Let me fucking tell you.
And I was sitting at 12. And I was like, what the fuck did I miss?
Let me fucking tell you. I had to restart it multiple times.
I had to restart it once and go through all of it again, which luckily, like, this stuff isn't, there's not too much going on to, like, do, really. But I did have to run it all back, and then, like, I still didn't have, like, the 15% in Thunder Plains that we're supposed to. And I just, like, went down the list and, like, went back, and I watched all the Sphere videos again, and, like, did something else, and I was like, I guess I just forgot one of these things. And like it right before we started recording, I like checked it, and it was like I was at 15%. I was like, I think I didn't lock myself out of 100%, but I genuinely
well, importantly, you want to get 15 at Guado Salam.
Oh boy.
But Thunder Plains only gives you like a fifth of a percent.
But that I feel like I just missed a 0.2 somewhere. That's my problem.
It could be.
But you can get more than 100%, so can you just make up for it later?
You can get more than 100% on multiple playthroughs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so on one playthrough you need, okay.
Yep.
So, dear listener, fast forward 44 episodes from now when we're at the end of the game and I'm just flipping out that I got fucking locked out, even though I did everything.
Because you're missing the Thunder Plains. Right. Yeah.
And they still indicted me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think I just like didn't watch one of the Sphere things or something, but I think there is a tool that you can use if you're playing on Steam that allows you to kind of like see the flags of like what you got and what you didn't to kind of give you an idea. Okay. I think someone like made a mod or some sort of tool to help you with that. But I'm playing on Switch, so fuck me.
So fuck you, yeah.
Because this shit doesn't run well on Steam Deck.
Nope.
Ain't that just the way?
This is the Every FNFF podcast.
And we're already complaining about the game.
You can listen to all of this season, but you still might miss about 1% of it, so you might have to listen to this season twice.
It's true, everything. Yeah. You should, if you, I just learned this actually, but if you put this podcast on anything that's not exactly 1.00 speed, then you will not get 100%.
Yeah, don't delete the silences.
Alex puts a lot of work into it. Don't listen to it fast. We have jokes that can only be heard if you listen to it at the base speed.
At a warm 33 RPM.
But we're like you said, back on the Celsius as we always start this this entire season. And the next area we're going to is what? Djose Temple?
I think so.
Remember Djose Temple?
The Djose Shore.
That's right. I mean, well, yeah, it's just south of here, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Djose Mikes.
I assume it's to the south in the way that down on the screen to me is south.
Yeah, I am famously like always 100% correct about, you know, north, south, east, and west. But
we're kind of following the path, skip a few, but we started in Luca. We went to Mihen, which connects to the Mushroom Rock Road, which connects to Djose. Because we would take like a shoreside like path to get to the Djose Temple after like Operation Mihen,
right,
in the last game. So I'm like memorizing like, oh yeah, this is what connected to this en route to the Moonflow.
I keep like remembering like since last week of being like, oh, I don't have to go back to the airship every time to go to the next area, which like
doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it would have really helped this week actually, but
well, I'm just like, I need to fucking find a save sphere so I can like heal up, or just so I can go and like stock up on the ship.
You're like, I don't have any more antidotes, and all of my team is poisoned. But yeah, I was trying to kind of just walk around and get my bearings, and like the way that the guide kind of talks about it, it kind of assumes that you know the layout of the game, I think, which makes sense. I mean, if you're going for 100%, it's likely that you probably have played this before, or you played 10 recently enough that you kind of remember how everything ties together. But it's like, in the guide, it's like, go to like the entrance of the far plane. I'm like, I don't know how to fucking get there. I haven't played this game in so long. I haven't been around here in a while.
Well,
they keep it in Guadosalam, right?
That's right.
Oh yeah,
it's in a big orb.
But we go to Djose Temple first in this episode.
Yeah, we just beam down.
You can also walk there. I walked there after getting Glasgow. I just strolled the rest of the way, got a little bit of experience.
I keep forgetting that like the beach that Operation Meathen like happened at and like collapsed that we can now like walk to from like.
It's just a nice little stroll now. No big deal.
They really made it walkable.
But there's a little intro cutscene when we get there, and Eunice kind of like, yeah, after the events of Final Fantasy X, people started distancing themselves from the temples, and like they kind of fell into disrepair. She says Djose was neglected for a long time, but now ...
It's a spirit Halloween.
And now it's a spirit Halloween. But now there's a ton of people there, right? Like as soon as we open up, the bridge leading to Djose Temple has like 20 people on it. There's so many people just dicking around, right?
Yeah, everyone's just fucking chilling.
I don't know. I feel like the trials would be like a big tourist attraction. Like, yo, we got.
Oh, like, yeah, it's like an escape room.
Yeah, escape rooms.
Yeah, people love escape rooms. Yeah.
People would absolutely fucking hate any escape room that they put in a fucking cloister from Final Fantasy X. That shit would suck.
Yeah, Djose one I could remember being especially kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
for the one of the earlier ones.
It really was. It was a little like there was that part where you have to push the pedestal with a sphere in it into the electric pool, and like you would never think to do that because you'd be like, well, no, I'll lose my sphere, then I won't be able to complete the puzzle. So yeah, it's fucked up. But anyway, all the people on the bridge on the way to Djose Temple right now are talking about the big dig, whatever that is. They're all talking about the dig. Can't wait to go on the dig. Have you heard about the dig? Super stoked about the dig. I like one person is like, I sure can't wait to go on the dig. And then you talk to them again and they say, I assume that there's no heavy lifting involved. To which I say, yeah, probably not. I don't see why it would be.
This is on the like bridge connecting on the way to Djose, right?
That's right. That's right.
There's still monkeys everywhere.
And there are those little monkeys. Yeah, there's little monkeys everywhere. Yep.
I tried talking to one of the monkeys and it ran away. And my first thought was, did I just fucking lock myself out of 100%? Like, I'm so nervous. Like, I need to just like let go. I need to just be like, it's okay if I don't get 100% because I probably won't.
Yeah. But as soon as we walk up into Djose Temple proper, the party kind of like walks into the middle of the area in front of the temple.
Still has the weird electro like floating rocks around it.
Yes.
Still turns on. You think that like they would just like, we can't turn off the power or else those things are gonna fucking fall. So we're gonna have to like imagine like the kind of like, what do we do about this?
Djose Temple may have fallen into disrepair and was neglected for several years, but it still looked cool as hell.
It sure does.
It sure does.
Lieutenant Surge's.
Yeah.
We got to go root around some trash cans and hopefully get lucky. And
you find the two buttons next to each other.
Yeah, they got to be next to each other. That's the trick. I don't know how I fucking figured that shit out as a kid.
Have you... Sidebar, I'm sorry. Have either of you seen the deterministic Pokemon playthrough, no matter what RNG? Like the button combination that will always beat Pokemon? Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
It's incredible.
Isn't that just say a step perfect route?
Somebody made a step perfect route no matter what RNG you get. And so they have to like build in all of these contingencies, right? So every single step they have to assume you might get into a battle on this step. So we have to do all the button combinations that would get you out of that one while keeping everybody who didn't get into a battle from stepping around so that we know where they are. And so it ends up being like just millions of button inputs, and like the playthrough takes like 300 hours or whatever. But it is guaranteed though that if you start up a game of Pokemon and you follow that button input, it will get you to the end of the game no matter what.
But can you get 100%?
I would accidentally hit fucking start at the wrong time, and I would fuck it all up. I would be at hour 295, and I'd be like, I'm still at Lieutenant Surge's fucking garbage cans. What did I do wrong?
The person who made it actually put all the instructions, like all the buttons in order on their GitHub, and they're like, yeah, you can just download it and put it into a task and watch it if you want. And like, no matter what happens, it will beat the game. But the Lieutenant Surge Gym one is like especially weird because he's like, well, there's no way to know that you're going to pick the right trash can, so we have to program going in and trying every possible combination hundreds and hundreds of times until you get like the possibility of not getting the right one, to where it's like so 1 in trillions, right? Yeah. So even if you get it on the first try, the button inputs have you going in and trying it like 9,000 times or something.
Maximum input any percent. Holy shit, it's wild. That's amazing. That
get on a date here, Dittos.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that sidebar. I just thought that was very interesting.
But now, as Yuna says, and in present time, not narration time, Yuna says everybody's staring.
Yeah. So
Yuna Riku lets her know, like, hey, like Yuna, you're famous now, like. Or I guess she doesn't say now. I was going to say, like, why would she say now? Yuna has always been. Oh, she says better get used to it. I'm like, I feel like she should have been used to it by now.
Yeah, being famous, and she's like the high summoner.
She was at least somewhat famous. Like, she's the one who, like, saved everything, so she's the most famous now.
Especially famous now.
Yeah, extra famous, yeah.
Look, she got the I don't keep up with like international news all that often, so like the whole Sin thing, don't know nothing about it.
Let me stop you right there. Never been a better time than right now to keep up with international news. Let me tell you, man. I haven't lost any sleep. I haven't been sick to my stomach. It's great.
But I do keep my ear on the radio, and that whole Real Emotion thing. Holy shit! I can't believe she's here.
Yeah, we did get like crowded attacked by rabid fans in Luca not that long ago. Which still, I'm like. People went to a stadium to watch one song.
Yeah, I think about that too. Wouldn't they be disappointed?
Unless she probably had a whole fucking set planned, and YRP just fucking ruined it.
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe that was the last song.
Or maybe that was the last song. They just got there late.
Yeah. Maybe she was just the opener.
Right.
Yeah,
it's just the halftime show.
Yuna's opening up for Steely Dan.
Yeah. the Sphere Break like tournament halftime show.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I do like headcanoning in that Steely Dan exists in the world of Final Fantasy X, and that like Yuna was opening.
Now that Machina is allowed, yeah.
Yeah, they're the most powerful of their CDs is Aja.
Speaking of which, there is somebody in this area. So after this little scene where they kind of like tease Yuna about like, oh, you're famous now. That's why everybody sees you. That's why everybody knows you. You need to get used to it.
It's like when you are playing in a band and your family like doesn't really listen to it. It doesn't come to your shows or anything. But anytime you're around, they're just like, oh, what's going on, rock star?
Yeah. Well, they kind of make fun of her too, because Yuna's like, oh, all I want is some peace and quiet. And Pain says that she's getting old. She's like, damn, somebody's getting old. Mm-hmm. And Yuna's like,
yeah, Riku's like, poor thing. She's led such a sheltered life.
Yeah. And Yuna's like, the fuck you say? Who's getting old? But in like the area,
this piece is what all warriors strive for. Pain, come on.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, as they're having like a friendly argument, right? Like they're just like joking with each other. A Mayon walks by, right? An absolute fella walks by. The tallest hair in the game I've ever seen.
The fuckboy energy emanating off this fella is unmatched. So
unmatched. Incredible.
Who's this like? Oh man, like this is glam rock Snake Plissken.
He's incredible. He's incredible. This the most fuckboy of all time walks by, and there's like bullet time or like slow animation, like as he passes Yuna. She like looks at him like, what the fuck? And he just continues on by. Walks to the entrance of Djose Temple and is like, all right, let's get these interviews going. Come on in. And he's like screaming at everybody who's there to interview for the job of digging, right?
That's Gipple, leader of the machine faction. He can be kind of annoying, but he's all right.
Okay, let's do some interviews. Bring it!
What kind of nooge Gipple?
Yeah,
fuck off.
He can be kind of annoying, but he is all right.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and after he waves and's like shouting at everybody, Yuna's like, yeah, I guess he seems all right. I do like that to some extent. They like just drop one of the entire facets around which Final Fantasy X is built here to some extent, where there are like NPCs who are like, machines, that's what we call Machina now, run this whole place. And I was like, okay, we're just getting rid of Machina. We're just calling them machines now. Love it.
This is a cute and fun little detail. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
Inside, I think later you can talk to someone. They do like just admit, like, yeah, it's just branding.
It's just branding.
Yeah, they're literally like, yeah, that fucking Yevon creep really did some work against Machina. So we're just calling them machines now.
Yeah, they like say, like, people say things like that. Yeah.
Gippo comes up and he's like, I got a real cool idea for some new Machina, really small ones, and they're gonna be, I would dare say, nano.
Nano
Machina, but we gotta come up with a different name for them.
But now we can like, because there's interviews happening, I think. You have to like register or something like that in like a tent.
Yeah, so if you want an interview with Gipple to do
for the dig,
to go on the big dig, you need to register first. But there's a line. Everybody's there. Everybody's trying to get rich to get paid off of going on this dig, right?
Everybody's working for the big dig.
Everybody's working for the big dig.
Is that a thing that happened in Boston that ended up costing trillions of dollars? The big dig?
The big dig?
Maybe.
Most expensive highway project in the United States. In Boston.
Was that for a highway?
Yep.
Remember when in Philly, I-95 was closed for like 2 weeks and it was reopened almost immediately?
Yep.
Get fucked, Boston.
Philly.
Okay, it was supposed to be $3 billion, but it ended up costing like $8 billion.
Nice.
Good job, Boston.
So there's this line we can't get into to register for the interview. And you can either talk to NPCs to make it go faster, or you can just sit there. And I was like, I have other things that I need to do and get online and do stuff now. So like, I just sat the Switch down and let the line drain out over the course of like 3 or 4 minutes.
So what I did was I was trying to just, for due diligence of the show, see if any interesting dialogue happens from the NPCs. So I did talk to everyone. I didn't realize that it goes faster, but then I was like, shit, I missed some of the dialogue because the people waiting in line you can also talk to. And I think they're just like, dang, hate waiting in line. How many people are in front of me? 2? Like, I don't know. I didn't actually do that, but I missed that. And I was like, I probably should have done that. But then, for reasons we'll get into later, I had to do this
out of 100
again. And I was like, fuck talking to all these NPCs again. I'm just going to chill here. And it did seem like it took longer, but I think that I kind of chalked that up to me being pissed.
I think I may have mentioned him in the FF10 season. I can't remember, but it's like tickling some of my memories right now, right? That I may have seen, like, said this. But there is a dude who just straight up looks like the Pain from Metal Gear Solid 3 in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Not to be confused with the Pain from Final Fantasy X, too.
That's right.
Our favorite goth Dami Mommy.
No, yeah, we saw the Pain hanging out in Luca out front of the bar, if I recall.
Oh,
That's right. Yeah,
I remember that,
yeah. Well, he's back.
Sans bees.
He's back, and he's actually, you know what? I wonder how many like completely unique NPC models there are in Final Fantasy X. And then to see where they all are now, like in Final Fantasy X 2. Is this the person who was at the bar in Luca and now he's here, he's getting ready to go on the dig? Yeah, we go up to him
and he's like, oh, Lady Summoner, what's up? Do you remember me? And we're like, oh, shit. Yeah, you're Pain, right? And Pain's like, what? What'd you guys say? And it's like, fuck.
The Pain. I'm sorry.
Pain. T-Pain's here.
T-Pain.
God, I don't want to... I was going to talk more about T-Pain, but I'm like, I don't want to have Alex have to do more audio editing and put fucking auto-tune on my voice.
I was like, if only I could emulate auto-tune, it would be so good.
I did it for Final Fantasy 1. Never again.
So yeah, eventually, once all that's done, we're able to get into the like tent or the little building.
Yeah. It used to be a travel agency, I'm guessing, right?
I believe so, if I remember right. Yeah.
It looks like it. when we get in there.
I do love all the hermit crabbing that happens in this game, particularly this episode, where it's like, okay, this used to be an ancient church, like a very, very sacred place. Like only very holy people could go into like the secret chamber in the back and do these fucking terrible escape room puzzles that suck shit. And now it's just a bunch of fucking people like chilling out and like building robots and like taking robots apart.
It's fucking like American Chopper in there.
Yeah, it's fucking battle bots inside. Like,
I mean,
all your favorite Discovery Channel
that actually
shows.
I think that is actually
Monster Garage.
I think that actually is
Junkyard
one of the
Wars. Remember that one?
The themes of Final Fantasy X too, though. Like that's like genuinely one of the themes of the game.
Yeah, and in the same
reused assets. You mean recycled assets?
That's right.
Yeah, it's meta, so you can't complain about it. But in that same theme, one of the NPCs that's just kind of hanging out as you're waiting for the travel agency interview queue to go down, one of them says, I know that Machina are against the teachings, but machines are all right, aren't they? And it's like, that is so fucking funny.
So good.
Like,
it's so good.
It's one of those things that if I played this when it first came out as a kid, I would have been like, people aren't that stupid. But now as a man who sees the world in 2023, I'm like, oh yeah, that would absolutely fucking work.
Absolutely.
On people. Yeah.
It does remind me of like those tweets recently. I was like, wait, does the Pope have like can just do things
so the
that
Pope's
due process?
Just a dictator who can do whatever he wants without due process? And people are like, yeah, the community notes just said yes.
That's so good.
Do you not, that's like the main feature of Catholicism.
Yeah, like it's so fucking funny.
But we get inside.
Yeah. So we're inside.
This line's been long enough. Okay.
We can finally ask the guy at the counter. You can either just go ahead and sign up for the dig, or you can ask him like, yo, what's the deal with the dig? Like, what is everybody digging for? Right.
What are we all digging for?
What? Oh, I have nothing left. What am I digging for? That's for all my Mega Man heads out there.
You'll be digging for research and building materials in the Beaconell Desert. Those materials are then used by the Machine faction. That's us.
That's us.
To forward our research. You need to go through the hiring process before you can dig, though. Your wages are paid on site. If you find something of value, your wages will go up. So is this Bone Village again?
No, we paid money at Bone Village for them to blow shit up so that they could find out a place to dig, and then we could tell them where to dig. And then they gave us the fucking magic flute or whatever that gets us through the forest.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite, I guess. Like, we got to keep what was ever in the ground in Bone Village.
Beaconells for haters.
You look forward to buying that 2-pack of bumper stickers on our Redbubble. Yeah, so we can go ahead and sign up. And he says, okay, you're signed up. All you have to do is go through the interview process. You just need to meet with Gipple in the temple, right?
Yeah. There's an argument happening in this room as well.
Oh,
one
yeah.
guy is like, I guess he's like kind of like, I can't really see his character model from here, but he looks more like in like churchly kind of clothing, like clerical sort of garments. And the older Albed guy is just like, God, like, I'm just asking this dude to change his clothes because it's hot in the desert, but he's too stubborn to listen to a word I'm saying. Amateurs. And then the other guy's like, will this guy ever shut up? Now he's threatening to not let me dig. I'm going to dig like there's no tomorrow, and no one's going to stop me, see? And it's like, at the last sentence in that, threw a fucking, threw a curveball at me, because as soon as I heard see, I had to go back and think of his dialogue as if he was like a 50s gangster. Like, will this guy ever shut up? Now he's threatening to not let me dig. I'm gonna dig like there's no tomorrow, and then no one's gonna stop me. See, like what a fucking weird dialogue, dude.
Dudes rock. What can I say?
Dudes do in fact remain rocking. Speaking of dudes rock, we're about to meet Gipple in a little closer quarters. So
it is very true.
He does have also the most dudes rock energy of anyone so far.
Very much so.
So we're going to the Djose Temple now that we can be admitted.
Yep.
Looks like you've been registered. Follow the instructions you receive inside, and then you're inside.
Yeah, it's a weird little quest. Go here and stand around and wait in a line. If you like waiting in lines, it's like all the fun of Roller Coaster Tycoon, except you play as the guy in line. And then it's just like, you just go there, and they're like, okay, you're registered. Fucking bureaucracy has entered the Djose Temple.
You waited in line so you can take a number, basically.
Yeah. And then we go in for an interview.
So when we walk in, Gipple is talking to somebody, and he's talking in Albed, right? And what he says, what he's saying is, I've already interviewed 3 people. It's your turn to take over. And he's getting ready to like leave, right? And so he like turns around to walk away. He's gonna walk out of the temple and leave the interviewing to somebody else. But he stops when he notices Yuna, and he's like, "Are you here for an interview?" He knows who she is, and he's like, well, "You're here to dig?" Okay. And Yuna's just like, "Yeah, whatever." And then he does like this, like, oh no, he doesn't do the one leg thing yet.
Oh, the one leg thing, dude. That was, I was like, I knew I had this guy pegged.
Yeah. This one, he just like leans in real close to her and he goes, "Oh, the great high summoner wants an interview." But then she like puffs out her chest and flexes and she just goes, "Former high summoner."
Yeah, dude.
So I just like that he's like trying to have the big energy and she's like, "Absolutely not." It's so good. But he says, "All right, follow me," and he walks out to the bridge, and then we go to follow him, right?
That's when we get the primer.
That's when we get the primer. Yeah, so the very first thing that we do on the bridge when we talk to Gipple is he gets really weird and gets like really up in Yuna's face, and he just goes,
"Never been this close to a celebrity before."
That's nice.
She's like,
So
creepy. That's nice. And then he stands on one leg and says, "I could get used to this." And Yuna just goes, "Oh, let's not."
Motherfucker's like, "I gotta turn up my Rizz to maximum level. I'm gonna do a pose that looks like it belongs on a tarot card of like a jester hanging upside down from his feet."
I feel like Gipple has very like Schrödinger's Rizz. I can't tell if it's very low or very high. Like you only know how much he has once you see whether it's been effective or not.
Exactly, yeah. And thus far it's not been effective on any of these ladies.
Right now he's batting 0. But although, as we'll learn about his backstory later, sometimes it's at 100. Sometimes it's max stats. Depends.
Let's see what they say about his design here.
Oh yeah, should we talk about what he looks like?
A mono art of this dude?
Yo, there is an incredible painting with Gipple in it where he looks hard as fuck. It's like really cool. He's got like this grimace on his face where he just looks brutal. It's super gnarly.
Yo, he does some even more dudes rock stuff here where he sees Riku and he says, "Well, if it isn't Sid's girl, how you been?" And she's like, "Yo, fuckhead, I have a name." And he just completely disregards that. He laughs a little and then he goes, "Brother doing okay?" It's like, all right, dude, like fucking...
Yeah. Although Riku's like kind of laughing and kind of like...
Yeah, she's kind of into it. But
she's kind of into it a little bit, which we'll learn why later.
What is it, the Bechdel test? he is failing the Bechdel test. I mean, so far this game has been really good about that because we're just playing as ladies.
Yeah. But then he turns around and he sees Pain. And like he like does a double take and he just goes, "You!" And like, he's like, "Oh my god, it's you!" And she just like stone-facedly is like, "Hello, my name's Pain. Nice to meet you." And he's like, "Okay." Like he's not because like clearly Gipple knows who Pain is and he suspects that she should know who he is.
Yeah.
But he's taken the hint that like, okay, she doesn't want to admit that she knows me, so he's like, "Yeah, nice to meet you as well, I suppose."
She just stays like completely calm and looks fucking pissed as hell, and she just says, "We're here for the interview."
Yeah.
She's like, "Right, the interview."
Yeah.
And then he really hard-hitting question in the interview. He says, "You sure you want to dig? Because we're talking about the desert, ladies, not exactly a picnic." And you can say, "We're sure," or "Fooled ya." And if you say, "We're sure," he says, "All right, you're hired."
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And even Yuna's like taken aback at how easy it is. She's like, "What?" And he just goes, "You are hired."
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
But
YRH. You are hired.
In position.
But
let's dig, girls.
Yeah, he's like, "I don't know why a superstar like you would want to play in the sand, but whatever. You do your thing. Here's a letter of introduction. I want you to give this to a woman named Nautila when you get to Beaconell Desert. And give it to her. She'll set you up and get you digging. So whatever you're on about, I don't know, but have fun."
I'm going to make an AMV of Yuna and Gipple, and it's going to be set to Incubus's Dig. It's going to be very romantic. That honestly might already exist.
It very well could.
I would not be surprised.
Now, if you are if you are gaming hard right now, if you are just like in the gamer zone, you will have 13% when you save the game next. If you are me, you'll have 12%, and then you'll go, oh no, oh no, and then you'll spend a good like hour trying to figure out where you're missing that percent at.
Did you figure out where it was?
I did. I actually talked about it on the last episode, but I didn't do it. I didn't actually go back to Luca and talk to Rin.
Interesting. Okay.
When he like tells you that he's like, oh, I'm getting into Sphere Break. It's going to be the next big thing.
Oh, right.
So I didn't do that.
So before we leave the area, I went back into the temple because I wanted to snoop around. Because I remember there used to be like nuns and kids running around.
Yeah.
And because you can't go into the cloister anymore.
Yeah, I forget why the guy, I think he just says like authorized personnel only or something. Like they're doing Al-Bhed shit back there now. And it's so funny because you go up to the top of the stairs
just doing hot Al-Bhed shit.
But Yuna just kind of turns around and like doesn't like it doesn't just like let you walk back down the stairs. She just fucking straight up jumps off of the stairs down to the bottom.
She does a cloud jump from FF7.
Yeah.
I like in the back room, you can like snoop around. There's an echo screen, I think, in the left or right room.
Okay.
There's a panel we can't access yet because we're not authorized like excavation person yet.
Lord.
And then there's a guy who's sleeping. It's like, you want a raise?
He's like, talk to me when you have something for me.
Also, just like whisper into his ear, give Yuna a raise. He wakes up. He's like, I don't know why, but I feel like giving Yuna a raise.
It is funny just like walking around in like the background, like all the same tapestry is still on the wall because it didn't really change the backgrounds at all. But
yeah, you know, there is an aspect of like, obviously how do I put it? It is just reusing exactly the same assets. And I know that people have like an issue with that or not or whatever. There's like discourse, and I don't mean to discourse it, but what I mean to say is though, it does feel like, and I think part of the point of the game, right, is that like how things have changed, but also how very little has changed in the world of Spira. Like we're no longer under the threat of sin, and yet there are all these factions who are like still vying for power. People can't find peace. The temples are still like the place that everybody goes to. It's just different usage, and like everything even looks the same. You know what I mean? Like it's
like when you go back to your hometown and you're like, oh damn, that Wawa that always sucked is now closed down, but it's still very obviously a building that was once a Wawa and now it's like a dentist office, or it's like a knockoff like Pantry One like convenience store instead that's not anywhere near as good as Wawa.
The bank that was a Pizza Hut.
Now it's all covered in daisies.
Now, to be fair, when I went back to my hometown recently, I lived in like the suburbs, I guess, like where you're like far away from fucking everything when I lived in Kentucky, right? And I went back and they put a Whole Foods in that suburb. And so like,
holy shit.
It's a very different vibe now. It's very weird.
There is that guy, that Al-Bhed at the bottom of the steps that you can like talk to, and he'll kind of give you some information about the machine faction. And he says, I'm in charge of machine faction PR. Ask me anything you want.
First things first, we don't use Machina. No. We only use grade A machines.
There was a guy on the bridge who was like, hey, I'm here. I'm in charge of a bunch of digging stuff I've been digging for years. So if you have any questions, and then there's like a ... and his next text box is, go ask someone in the temple. Thanks, bud.
I love the one dude who's just talking about how you like really have to pay attention when you're working with these machines, because if you're taking one apart and you try to put it back together, you might have some extra pieces laying around and you're like, oh shit. It's like #1 rule in IT is always document everything when you're taking apart a laptop. Make sure you know where each screw goes and all of that. And
make a diagram so you can like place all that
I have
shit.
definitely had to fix people's laptops in the past, and after fixing it, I'm like, well, I have 5 screws that I don't know where those go, so I'm just giving it back to them. I don't give a shit.
Just give it a shake. I'm like, it seems like it's good.
I don't get paid enough for this shit. Here you go. Enjoy, asshole.
But the first thing he says when he asks just like, what is the machine faction? He says, we are a group of Al-Bhed that focuses on Machina research. Though not all Al-Bhed share our enthusiasm for Machina, we get along with them well enough.
Yeah.
And then their mission statement says, until recently, the Al-Bhed always used excavated Machina as is. The machine faction, however, uses the expertise to remodel Machina and upgrade their performance.
Dog, they're going to invent the internet so soon.
Oh no.
I'm so excited for the first like 10, 20 years of that.
They are 3 fucking days away from inventing like podcast spheres, and that's awful.
No, no.
Machine? Question mark? It's just another word for machina.
There you go.
Well, the machines are simply saying we want to steer away from the negative connotations of long attached to the latter word of teaching.
I think
they're erasing history.
I think what we need to do is actually like change like the department for work
my heritage
to something like, you know, the Department of Defense or something, you know?
Yeah, right.
Any kind of money that your taxes go to, that's actually defense spending. So don't worry about it. It's good.
It's fine.
Then what?
Well, I've had just about enough of Djose Temple.
We'll go to Beacon L later, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we'll go to Beacon L.
Yeah, I was like, should I do the dig stuff? Because like in the guide now it says, you know, just head on over to the Moonflow.
Yeah, because the thing is
conveniently is like right outside the Djose Temple. So
let's put a pin in that, and the pins are stacking.
Yeah, and let's talk about going into the Moonflow. So again, we're like reading the Steam 100% guide, and the Steam 100% guide is correct in what it says.
Oh, it's great. It is very. It's not like programming 101. How do you make a sandwich? You know, like philosophical like exercise of being like, oh, well, you get a piece of bread, and then you do, and it's like, okay, well, what's bread? It's like, no, it just tells you in a bulleted list with some screenshots exactly what to do. What it doesn't tell you,
you don't follow it to the word though, then you will not get it. So like there's a mission coming up in the Moonflow, and depending on where you actually accept the mission, you can miss out on 100%. And so it's like, hey, accept the mission from Tobly, which is a guy we're going to meet here in a second. And they're fucking serious when they say accept it from them, because if you accept it from anyone else, you don't make the 100.
Yep. And that is why I had to play this part over again.
Same.
So if we recall, like we would head to the Moonflow, reminisce about the Jack getting kicked by a shoopuff, ride the shoopuff,
learn about fireflies,
walk assess something racist, bump into Riku.
Oh yeah, we bumped into Riku here for the first time,
and then make it our way to Guado Salam. So I'm remembering like the kind of chain of events.
Yeah, we got to go backwards though, because we're coming from the opposite direction this time. Unless you do the smart thing, which would be go to the save sphere, go back up to your ship, then go to the Moonflow on the overworld thing where you can read about the mission, where it talks about how bandits have taken over in the Moonflow, and that some people have been talking about how they've been getting mugged.
So yeah, where should we take?
So what you should do is you should go back to Djose Temple. You should go interact with the save sphere. Beam back up to the Celsius, listen to Riku and Payne's hilarious little quips about going digging.
Oh, I didn't.
That's
talk
right.
to him about
Riku
that
says like makes fun of what Gipple said. It was like, "Oh, Yuna never been so close to the celebrity before."
yeah.
That's so good.
Owned. And then we should beam back down to the Moonflow, because if we do that,
the Moonflow, because
the halfway point of the Moonflow.
Oh, the halfway point.
Yeah, because then we'll be able to work our way back and meet this character Tobly. But that's not what I did. I said, oh, it's like right there. I can just walk to the Moonflow. It's fine. Fuck it. So I just walked over to the Moonflow. And if you do that, there is a Hypello who is in the middle of the road screaming out, "Shave me."
Somebody, anybody, shave me.
Yep, he sure is.
Sure.
And I didn't bring my razor, so I don't
Came
know.
here to kick ass and shave ass, and I'm all out of ass.
Somebody, anybody, shave me.
Anybody shave me. Why won't anybody shave me? And he keeps saying that, and they're like, yo, what's wrong? And he's like, no one wants to shave me. And like, well, you got a lot of hair. He doesn't have a lot of hair. He's got no hair.
He's an aquatic
He's
being.
basically a frogman.
He's basically a Zora, like no hair.
Yeah, no hair.
Unless they're like very like small hairs, like on a penguin or something.
We try to explain to him, you don't need shaving. You have no hair. But he just doesn't
There's
understand.
also like a female NPC who's just kind of standing over there, and when you talk to her, she's just like, God, that Hypello keeps asking for someone to save him, but they just talk for so long, so I'm not even gonna bother talking to him. They just never shut the fuck up, dude. I don't got time for this.
So he explains what his issue is. He's like, I am transporting a bunch of materials, right? He's come from Luca. He's transporting materials to the Moonflow, and he's like, there are bandits everywhere. I need help being saved from the bandits. And like the party's like, holy shit, you were attacked by bandits? And he goes, no, but I'm afraid that I will be.
That's just as bad.
Yeah, fear is the mind killer, as we all know.
And the party's like, well, we're not really in that business. We're kind of like sphere hunters or whatever. That's kind of our thing. So maybe you can go ahead and fuck off. And then Yuna's like, but it'll only take a second. Fuck it, let's do it. And mission begin if you're a big dummy. But don't be a big dummy. Yeah,
I've gone on record many times stating yes. Yes, I am.
But don't do that. Don't do that, Carl. That's also what I did. Instead, take it from the top of the Moonflow and come down that way, because you get like 3 additional cutscenes that you would just miss otherwise and never be able to get.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing this in the script. Yeah, like this is the Tobley angle.
This is the Tobley angle, indeed. I'm always playing at that angle.
Is Tobley the small little bird person?
Is he a bird person?
We talked about him in the first season as well. We saw this type of creature running around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw him in the locker rooms too back in Luca. But yeah, he's like the smallish person who kind of has like a beak helmet. I can't tell if it's a small person wearing it like a beaked helmet or that's just part of their like physical form. But they have kind of a bird themed kind of outfit.
Yes,
on. Yeah. And he's voiced by Rob Paulson.
I was wondering who it was. Yeah.
You might recognize his voice. He's like, of course, the voice of like Yakko.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I know his voice. I just couldn't.
But they like sped his voice up, so he's like, yes. Cool. Let's go.
Okay. But yeah, so we beamed down.
Hello, pain.
I think it's the first time we've heard them voiced too, because I think we only saw them like wandering around Luca and just under text boxes. But yeah.
Okay, so it looks like the race is a Pelu.
You know what? I thought he was a Pelu. I just didn't want to say it.
Okay, so they're a recurring race in Final Fantasy, introduced in 10.
Okay.
I believe they're also in 14.
Oh yeah, bird-beaked people. What do they? Let's see. 14.
They wear a bird-like mask, apparently. Although the race is never identified by name in Final Fantasy X series, localized English name was revealed when Mobius Final Fantasy added a card bearing the likeness of the race in August 2018.
This is some Star Wars like retcon. Like this is what this race is called. Yeah, they do just look like children wearing a little mask.
Yeah, they got some swag.
It's a cool design.
They do look good as hell.
I mean, that is what is important. I agree.
Dripping.
But anyway, so we beam down to the Moonflow. Yuna does some reminiscing. She says that, like, the landscape's... She says the thing we just said. She's like, all these assets are reused. The devs didn't even come up with new assets. Because she says the landscape hasn't changed, but if anything, people seem to smile more often, right? Like she's like,
the Steam review that Yuna's writing, it says she's played this game for 300 hours, and next to it says do not recommend.
I was looking the other day at what the hell did I buy? I bought a HDMI switcher. I bought an HDMI switcher, and there were 2 reviews for it, and both of the reviews were just copies of the same review. It was just the same review twice. And the person was like, bought this HDMI switcher. It broke. I'm going to send it back and get a different one. 5 stars. So like the product has like a little tag on it that's like 100% of the people who have reviewed this have given it 5 stars. It's got the recommendation of the people. And the review's just like, yeah, it broke.
I thought you were going to say that it was like one of the reviews was 1 star and the other was 5 stars, but they said the same thing. It's kind of like if you would see like a Fox News headline that's like, the radical left wants you to pay for other people's health insurance instead of war. And it's just like, yeah, don't fucking threaten me with a good time. Like.
But yeah, so basically Yuna's like, this game sucks. No, she says that everything looks the same, but people seem to smile more now. There's a different vibe in the air, right? There's a better vibes economy in Spira now. And like, it shows the party walking along the Moonflow, and Riku's like, yeah, I mean, that's all you. You did that. You beat Sin, and now everybody's able to do this. Like, the vibes are better because of what you did years ago. And of course, Yuna's like, she is modest and is like, "Nah, it wasn't me. Don't worry about it. It's fine." Riku says, "No. You got to give yourself a pat on the back. You did a good job, right?" And so they have like a little moment like that where we just get some characterization, which is nice, right? But then we see that little bird man, that little Pelu. Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Listen, they made that shit up in 2018. As far as I'm concerned, at the time of us covering this game, it has no name.
But yeah, he comes up to the party, and like you were saying, Alex, he's very hyperactive. He speaks very, very quickly. He's very high pitched.
On this spot, I'll be sponsoring an extraordinary show. Do come. Oh, and I'm totally. Yep, it will be splendid indeed. Mark my words, people here and there and merriment everywhere.
He's kind of has the voice of like a con artist.
I was gonna say he's kind of like a con artist. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I think he's a traveling producer, so I'm guessing he's like, this is like a roadshow kind of thing he's maybe hosting.
He's basically selling Homer and Grandpa's sex medicine from that episode. The revitalizing tonic.
Sex! I had sex!
Yeah, what's so wrong with hearing your old man talk about sex? But yeah, he says he's putting on a show. I guess Rammstein are touring through. He's just set it up. He's got all the pyrotechnics and stuff. You know?
They're touring with Steely Dan now after the events of the last
That's right,
concert.
Steely Dan.
It's the roadies. Yeah.
We're all living in speed. Coca-Cola, sometimes war.
But yeah, so he basically is like, yeah, it's gonna be really good. Everything's gonna rule. And the party's like, oh, that sounds great. Good times. And I guess like Riku and Pain know enough to be like, we need to leave now. Like we should dip out of this conversation immediately because there's only one way that this is gonna go. So they all start walking away. And Tobli's like, oh, wait, I had a favor to ask you. And I think it's Pain who's like, just keep walking. Just don't even like turn around or whatever. And Yuna's like, I don't get it. Why? And Riku's just like,
it's like Pain and Riku have like hung out in New York City way longer than Yuna's like, no, just keep walking.
Don't
hey, can I ask you something? Like, hey, no, stop.
And so Yuna's like, well, okay. And then waits a couple seconds and goes, let's hear him out. Let's hear what he has to say. Come on. It turns around and like, Pain is like obviously annoyed. She's like, oh, Yuna, you fucker. And then Riku like claps her hands and is like, God, I love this dumb gal. So good. Just eating it up. It's amazing. But then he gives us the mission and says, my assistant Hypello went to Luca, is getting a bunch of stuff, and he hasn't returned, and I'm afraid he's going to be attacked by bandits. And he also insults him a little to say, he's a Hypello. He probably hasn't gotten very far. They're slow. And I'm like, damn, all right.
Yeah.
Well, they are land dwellers.
A lot may have changed in Spira, but the racism is still very strong here.
Absolutely
all the
intact.
Microaggressions aplenty. Wako ain't here, but damn.
Yeah, that's right. But the party like says the same thing that they say to the Hypello, and they're like, well, we're sphere hunters, so that's not really what we do. Like, why would we help, right? And he goes, because sphere hunters hunt spheres. And he produces a sphere, and he's like, I'll give you this if you go do it. And so the party, of course...
Sphere means treasure, and hunter means hunter.
So, we're going to go do the mission for him, because we are being enticed with a sphere, right?
Yes.
Yummy.
So... we'll go find the Hypello that we would have found if we came in via
we may or may not have already found and saved.
That you may or may not have already ruined 100% with.
The one we blew off because he did not have any treasure for us.
The one that we got to shave, baby.
But like we said, he's really slow, so I don't think he'll mind if we stop off at a save sphere and take a little break, right?
Yeah.
Take a little rest first before we come back and do that. So let's do that.
Maybe LeBlanc will beat us there and they'll shave him instead.
God, I hope. I just want to see more LeBlanc no matter what.
True.
Honestly.
Same.
All right. See you when we get back.
See ya. So we're on the Hypello. No,
we're on the Moonflow. Notably,
if we go back to the ship to kind of recharge, we do see like Riku and Painter saying, "Oh yeah, we should probably help them out."
Oh really?
But also, like when we go back to talk to Buddy to go down, we get a bunch of hotspots pop up sometimes.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
because we've like triggered like an event.
Ah, okay.
So now we see that the Moonflow has a hotspot. I think because we've been assigned this mission.
Interesting.
Oh, cool.
Okay, that's cool.
That might be where it says the.
I think it's just to kind of help you keep track of like where you are.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, if you leave as soon as you get to the Moonflow, like before you actually like walk toward Tobly or whatever, you can go back and Riku will say, "Why was everybody standing around at the Moonflow? We should go see what everybody's up to," and gives you like a little hint to go back down there.
Makes sense. Yeah, we get the mission primer. Getting reports of bandits along the Moonflow, targeting a Hypello freight wagon. Protect the wagon and pick up the reward. And I'm looking at my completed percent at that, and it's 13%, which I don't think it's supposed to be that at that point. So
that might be right. Yeah, it should be 14, gangster. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I think it was literally just I didn't talk to Shinra and watch all the spheres. So I think
I might talk to Shinra and watch all the spheres. You have to talk to Clasko when he's on the ship.
Sure do. Okay, I think we mentioned that at the end of last episode, if I remember correctly. It's nice. You can jump off the ledge of the little area that he's in, the little like rest area. Get down a little faster.
So when do we get our mission start from Tobly? Is it right?
I think it's like right after you talk to him.
What does it say? Does it say guard the Hypello or something like that?
Something like that.
Question.
I think it depends on when you get it. There's different descriptions because I'm looking at the script and it says airship description, guard the Hypello. If we do what Tobly asks us, we can score a treasure sphere. Let's help the Hypello and show the bandits what it means to be a gullwing. But if you accept it from the Hypello, like I did, it says shave the Hypello.
Shave the Hypello.
If bandits grab the cargo, chase them down and take it back. You'll lose cargo if they get away. And like, it's interesting that there's like different descriptions depending on context.
So,
what's up, Carl?
Oh no, I was just saying, it's interesting that they have different dialogue for like, oh, now you have the bad ending, you fucking loser. If you see shave the Hypello in the airship, then you fucked up.
Are either of you aware of the mathematical problem of the moving sofa problem?
Oh, yes.
Of course, but I want to hear you explain it. I'm very smart.
Well, I'll explain it momentarily. I just want to put a quick pin in it to be like, while we're walking down to the Hypello from Tobly's area, there's just one screen. It's like the big long screen of the walk up to the Moonflow, right? And there's one 90-degree angle turn in it, just like there is in the moving sofa problem. And we come all down, we find the Hypello. We can begin the mission.
I think
there.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm Tobly's assistant. Let's go back up. And basically you start like a little, not a mini game, but like the cart is moving on its own pretty slowly, and you're kind of like walking around. You're controlling Yuna as it moves. And occasionally at 3 points within the journey, the screen will do like a quick fade down, fade up, and you'll get a different camera angle. And you'll see some bandits running toward the cargo, and you have to fend them off, right?
And this assistant says, "Oh no, bandits, we are under siege."
You're under siege.
He seems like so tired of it. Like, oh, I knew it. I knew
very fucking lax about it too. He's just like,
oh, jeez.
I guess robbing a Hypello must actually be pretty easy, though. It's just like, well, you're like tripping and falling down.
I mean, they take it real easy breezy. They kind of just run up, jump real high onto the thing, grab like a suitcase off of there, and then jump off, run like 3 feet. Like they take like 3 strides, and then they stop and just chill, and then you can just go up to them and interact with them and get into a battle.
Importantly, they chill for about 1.5 seconds, and then they fucking book it.
Oh, damn. So, okay.
If you don't talk to them right then, you will lose. Like they will get away with
and
cargo.
You will lock yourself out of 100%
and you'll lock yourself out of 100%.
You need to get all of these packages.
Importantly, with the exception of the very first time the bandits attack, you have to sit there and wait for the Hypello to say his whole speech.
You can't just assume that someone's going to steal from you.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, you have to listen to his whole speech where he's like, "Oh no, we're under siege," and then Yuna can move. And by that time, the bandit has probably already jumped on and grabbed one of the pieces of goods, but you can track him down and beat him up. It's fine. After that, though, you can just mash through his dialogue and start moving when they're way far away, and you can just go hunt them down. Yeah, you can
get them before they get there.
Yeah, yeah.
I've managed to, jump them before. I think the Hypello even notices them like once or twice.
Nice.
Yeah. But there's 2 encounters with bandits on the way up to that little right-angled turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get to the right-angled turn, the game fades to black, fades back up, and now we're just aiming to the right instead. We're aiming east instead of north.
They were like, we're not animating this shit.
Well, I was thinking about it. I was like, they must have done a screen transition where there's not normally any screen transition because they didn't want to animate it. And then I thought about it and I was like, they could literally have just rotated the model. They didn't have to animate anything. You could just like rotate by 90 degrees like they do whenever you talk to an NPC who's like facing away from you.
Talking about the chocobo wagon?
Yeah. But then I thought to myself, wait. Not every shape can fit through a 90-degree angle. There's a whole mathematical problem about this called the moving sofa problem, in which people have not provably, but probably figured out the perfect shape for a sofa to move around a 90-degree turn if you want the most mass of sofa possible. So what the Hypello and Tobly should have done is to carve out a circular nook on the right side of the Chocobo's cart. So that way they could perfectly wedge around the 90-degree angle and make it without having to do a screen transition.
Or...
well, maybe that's what they did when it faded to black.
Or they could have Tokyo drifted it and like turn before they hit the turn.
Well, maybe if there's enough room for the Chocobo to be perfectly perpendicular, but if there's not, if we want to assume that the Chocobo cart is exactly as wide as the road that they're on, they're going to need the Hammersley sofa equation.
I knew Curtis was going to bring up the Hammersley sofa equation on this episode.
I can't go any time without talking about it. I'm just like,
he's always
talking about it. You won't fucking shut about the Hammersley sofa equation.
I'm looking at a model of it now because I'm very curious.
I like to think that the Chocobo just jumps with the entire wagon, just does like a little hop, boink, like around the corner.
We need to get the Mythbusters on this shit. It does look like that would work.
Fix your game, Square Enix.
Fix your game, Square Enix.
Highly recommend watching this GIF of the sofa.
It's kind of delightful, isn't it?
It's really satisfying. It's like oddly satisfying. It's like, no, that shit's just satisfying. Like you don't have to quantify it as being odd. Like that's just good.
A few moves ago, I had to move out, and we had a 100-inch long sofa. Most of them like cap out like around 95 at most, because it's like from the like 50s before there was like any standardization.
Yeah,
and I managed to get it so. Somehow got it out my apartment door at the right angle and ended up being with about this much space completely on its side, like at a 90-degree angle on its side in the hallway. Like there was really no way for it to actually tilt. I had to like scoot it down the hallway on its side because it was just so long. And when we finally got to a stairwell to like maneuver it, we hit the fire alarm.
Oh, God.
It took like 5 people to move because it was like made of like hardwood and
you
shit.
hit the fire alarm and I was like, quick, into the hallway. We got to get down this one stairwell or whatever.
That's kind of felt like we were blocking like the whole hallway.
It's the perfect crime.
You see, Alex, you would not have had that problem if your sofa was shaped like the ambidextrous sofa that was proposed by Dan Romeek.
Hell yeah. Shout outs to Dan Romeek.
Shout outs to Dan Romeek.
Sounds like bad Maki to me.
Man, I tried bringing our old sofa down to the basement because it was a good enough sofa. We're like, no need to just throw it out. Like, we'll just bring it down here. And I got it all the way down the stairs by myself. Got it all the way down the stairs. You guys have been into my basement before. Mm-hmm. And then once trying to get it through that door, there was just no way. It wasn't the cool shape that Curtis is talking about. I could not get it into my garage at all, or my basement at all. And I was just like, well, fuck. And then, like, I had turned it enough times that it, like, almost felt like it was impossible to get out of the stairwell after the fact and stuff. And my fiance had to help me and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this sucks.
Now, I'm going to bring it all back around here, okay? Now, we're sphere hunters, right? So we're collecting all these spheres. And over the course of the game, we're going to get a lot of spheres, right? We're going to, like, end up with, like, maybe 100 of them, maybe more. Now, there's been a question for a long time that's been answered. The question's been answered. What's the most efficient way to pack a sphere? Now, Dan Romeek, the person who suggested the ambidextrous sphere, or at least was the most recent to define it, this year in 2023, he simplified the law of sphere packing in the 8th dimension. So if we want to pack 8-dimensional spheres that we're hunting for, since we're sphere hunters, there is now a more simple mathematic equation to pack those.
Well, to me, personally, here's
together.
My personal take. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me all you want. To me, dimensions, when it comes to dimensions, 3, no more, no less. That's all I can be bothered with, buddy.
No room for a time dimension. Absolutely not.
No, get that shit out of here. In this economy, are you fucking kidding me?
That's why milk crates are smaller than they used to be, and you can't hold my records because they made the milk cartons smaller.
I feel like
they're as round as they used to be.
Just thinking about like a 4th dimension now, and just the way I was talking about, I'm like, God, if there was like a 4th dimension that could be accessed or something, you know that there would be people who would be like, all right, you got to grind, dude. We got to be on that quantum grind set in the 4th
quantum
dimension.
Grind set.
You need to be grinding 17-hour work days, and then in the 4th dimension, another 8 hours.
That's how you fit 10 days into a 7-day week, right?
Yeah, exactly.
10 days
it's the future the capitalists
week.
want.
That's so good. Anyway, so there's one more bandit encounter after we
I like that you can see them looming over like the canyon.
I love that one. Yeah, I was like,
really
I want to
good.
get up there and just fucking preemptively kick that guy's ass.
These guys weren't very hard.
No, very easy.
Baby's challenge.
Maybe if this is like the first mission that you have, it would be harder, but I don't know. I don't know when you can
They're
actually
not that
access
bad,
this. Yeah, they're pretty simple.
They're either like a chained attack between Pain and Riku if you have like decent attack jobs, or like a single Fira.
Yeah,
They'll take them out.
For me, I just had gun unit. I didn't even have any like. I was like, I don't even need to change over to mage. The casting is a little too slow, so I was just shooting with Yuna, and I think like one time I was able to chain it in such a way that I just got like in one round killed all of them.
Hell yeah. Nice.
I got like lucky with like Pain getting a crit on the last one.
I did level up to Black Magic level 3 during this, so that was nice. I got these like real short casts now.
Hell
I love that. But yeah, not really a lot going on there. We make it back to the moan flow itself. Obviously, the Hypello gives the goods to Tobly, and he gives us that sphere. Yeah.
Oh, you've returned.
Thanks to these ladies.
Yep. Of course, you've been most helpful. With this, the show is just a step away from smashing success.
Thank you, everybody. If I can ever help you, just change a word.
Here, as promised.
Yeah, so what does he give us? He gives us
the gun mage dress sphere.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Which is that the first dress sphere that we've actually gotten for ourselves, like outside of a mandatory section of game?
I think so.
Was I guess the Black Mage one was mandatory?
That was from
right.
Gagazet, right?
I think.
Yeah, that was mandatory.
It might be. Who knows? This game you can play it in any order, so it doesn't matter. We also score the circlet.
A circlet,
which I did not look up, which is probably good, I bet.
Yeah. And the Helios garment grid.
Yeah.
You remember
Helios
last
guard.
episode when I said I'm going to look up what every garment grid does?
I think I actually did look up that garment grid. I don't know if I actually took a screenshot of it because I was like, I'm not going to use this shit. I think it has to do with protect, maybe. It allows you to like cast protect and have auto protect and like SOS protect or something.
Helios guard, yes. SOS protect and use protect. Auto protect is an ability. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can see that having a use case for sure.
Reflect and piercing magic.
Oh wow! So the circlet's actually really good, by the way.
Yeah.
It's an accessory that grants +10 increase to both magic power and magic defense.
Oh, that is pretty good. I'm gonna put that on Yuna as soon as I play the game again. So yeah. So now we have one of two options. We can take the save sphere one screen to the left, back up to the Celsius, and then take that to Guado Salam, our next area. Or we can ride the shoopuff.
Of course.
Yeah, of
Get
course.
on him. Ride him over.
How can you not?
Why wouldn't you?
We get a cool little cutscene of like not the in-game model of the shoopuff, but I think the in-game model of all of our characters on the shoopuff.
Yeah.
Which is just a quick little cutscene of it just kind of dipping into the water and taking us across. It's interesting that I don't think that has anything to do with 100%, but it's obviously something that took some time for the animators to animate.
I guess there's no dialogue.
Yeah,
so
I guess they
matter.
only do that for the...
It was like, we've seen that Sunken City before.
The Voice Actors Guild made that in their contract, so I'm actually going to stop complaining about it because they deserve that.
But yeah, so we can go into Guadalsalam. It's still in front of that, like, it's like in a giant tree, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about Guadalsalam? Yeah, sorry, I'm just like still caught up on the shoopuff stuff.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Still just checking out that fucking shoopuff.
We can take all the time we need to talk about shoopuffs.
Yeah, there's Hypellos. I love there's a guy who says such a sizable tail, charming. One Hypello is I am on shoopuff doo-doo duty.
Oh yeah, the doo-doo duty.
Shoopuff doo-doo duty.
I'm not a big fan of the new recording of Rides the Shoopuff because he says it very declaratively, not like a question.
Yeah, not
Rides the Shoopuff.
Yeah.
He's demanding that we do it. He's like, listen.
It fills me with the same sort of emotion that I got when I haven't played the Resident Evil 4.
He still says Shoopuff's waiting.
Yeah. I haven't played the Resident Evil 4 remake yet, but I was just like, man, they're not going to use, understandably so, they're not going to use the merchant's dialogue.
What can I get for you, stranger?
Yeah, what are you buying? And I was just like, what a missed opportunity, because that line is perfect, no notes ever needed. I think the new voice actor does do a good job with it. Mm-hmm. If it's a new voice actor, I assume it is, but does a really good job with it, but it's just, it's hard to improve upon perfection.
You haven't played it?
No. I'm not talking about the game in general. I'm talking about specifically the one line, what are you buying?
Oh, Carl.
I know that game is apparently much better than the
He says it.
No, he says it, but I just mean the treatment that it gets.
Oh, I was gonna say,
I've heard it.
He does the line.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's never the take.
I mean,
it's never gonna be the
Rizz the Shoopuff is the same line as well. What I'm saying is
no,
okay.
I was like, they absolutely do the line.
Yeah, I mean, they say it in Village as well, where the Duke. The fucking Duke.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, something I picked up from.
He's like, what are you buying? Haha, that's something one of my old friends used to say. I'm like, I like that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I feel like about Resident Evil Village. That game's so good.
I feel like we're not giving the Shoopuff enough due diligence. We're not giving it enough praise for what it is, because I feel like we cover that pretty well in the first season, because like we're getting to it and we're just kind of like, oh yeah, the Shoopuff's still here and stuff like that. Like, don't let that if you don't remember the 10 season or you didn't listen to that one or whatever, like we fucking love this thing. I will speak for all of us.
And Corey was on for the episode.
Yeah.
If you want a little more detail on the Shoopuff, just go listen to our multi-100-hour podcast season about Final Fantasy X. It's just a small amount of homework to
we
get
do
this
talk
one
about
section.
it for like 10 hours about how much we love it.
It's an elephant with a proboscis that apparently eats nothing, according to Lord Machin.
Except Ject. It's gonna eat Ject.
He can't be right about that. It has to expend calories. It has to eat something.
Yeah, the existence of doo-doo duty for his Shoopuff.
How would it doo-doo?
Yeah, like that.
Maybe Machin not so smart. Maybe he's less wise than we were giving him credit for.
Speaking of Jack, it's the same Shoopuff because the scar's still there.
Oh, really? That's a cute detail. Nice.
Yeah, they didn't change anything.
Oh, that's a really cute detail, or a fucking shameful and lazy reused asset.
Very little has changed, but the people smile more.
Then moving towards Guadalsalam, there's of course, like the little train. I like the little bus stop bench on either side of the Moonflow.
Oh, yeah, it's really nice.
There's a guy, it's like, for what it's worth, I'm in charge of Moonflow security. Just a guy who seems very like, I don't know why I'm here, or I have this job.
Yeah.
In the first 10 season, we got very into like translating what the signs say in like the Spira like font, like the 2000s font.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that says Shoopuff, it looks like, maybe, because you can kind of...
It's even like, the shape of a Shoopuff, even.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't... This season, I'm like, I don't care.
Well, shout out to Spira.translated on Instagram, who's been doing all the hard work of translating, like, textures from Besaid to Xanarkand. says, and they are just like going through finding all like the hidden text, no matter how small and insignificant it is, and all through Final Fantasy X. It's really cool.
Nice. Yeah, I guess if there's a high def enough texture that it will be translated.
I'm sure the shoe puffs have been covered over there. But yes, on to Guado Salam. This is like we're coming around the bend where I guess we would bump into Riku, right?
Yeah.
Around this point, this is where we kind of bumped into her, or we just found her like on the side of the river or something like that.
She was in the the obliterator copy that was underwater that tried to kidnap Yuna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, then we like blew it up, and she was the person who was riding inside of it.
I forgot the shoe puff got like ambushed.
Got attacked, yeah. By Riku in a big machine. And then everybody who had a swimming animation had to go fight it. But anyone who didn't have a swimming animation could not go fight it.
They have to learn.
But yeah, after we round that corner, we go up like a little hill.
I got lots of encounters with those chimeras.
Oh yeah, those chimeras were kind of tough. They would regularly poison me because I could not be bothered this week to change my accessories at all.
I have a lot of pictures of Riku. Just her death pose is very funny, where she's whatever the reverse of planking is, where she's just flat on her back. But yes. To Guado Salam, which, as you said, is like a big giant tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some folks outside talking about how they got robbed by bandits. The older lady's like, oh, if I was just a little younger, I would have kicked the stuffing out of those bandits. While this lad was daydreaming, the bandits ran off with our belongings. So she's like blaming her grandson or whatever.
So we're in Guado Salam. Like we said, it's been about it's been like what 2-3 years since the events of since the events of Final Fantasy X. And in the meantime, we're all stuck at home wondering to ourselves, where did the Guado go? Where did the Guado go? There's no Guado here.
Yeah, no Guado. Yeah.
Guado.
Yuna says this is Guado Salam, where the Guado are from, but a lot of people blame them for the events that happened like 2 years ago, right? Yeah. Because they like, obviously Lord Seymour kind of was like the Lord Chancellor of like Guado Salam, and so a lot of the Guado just did what his bidding was. So when we were like fighting in temples or we were trying to rescue Yuna, we would always be fighting a bunch of Guado, right? So a lot of the people of Spira are basically kind of like, oh, well, it's their fault. It's their fault all this shit happened. But although, if I lived in the world of Spira and I was under the tyranny of Sin for like hundreds of years, I would think that the one time the Guado step up and then Sin is defeated forever, I might be like, yo, the Guado fucking, they really walked up and did it.
Yeah, Yuna mentions that, like, people have a point to be, like, pissed at the Guado and be like, they deserve what they get for, like, all of that they've done. And I'm like, that's a really fucked up way of looking at it. Like,
I don't know that they do.
You can't just be like, oh, okay, well, Seymour was a fucking asshole, so every single Guado is also, should be collectively punished.
Guado.
Yeah,
like, he was only half Guado.
Okay, that's, all right, no. My point is collective punishment bad. Do not punish.
I'm saying the one bad Guado was we could have blamed him and just being human. Like,
true.
One time. Yeah, it could equally have just been humans. You could just be like, well, the guy who was in charge of it was human.
Yeah.
So it was humans.
But yeah.
And actually, if you were like a person living in Spira, would you be privy to all the fucking Seymour bullshit?
The state secrets and shit? Yeah.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't. You'd probably just be like, yo, isn't it crazy that as soon as Seymour was like, I've got a plan, that Sin was defeated?
Yeah, I mean, you may disagree with his methods, but
it's
a
bummer for his wedding.
Yeah.
I'm curious how things were spun, like, for the common folk. Like, from the outsiders, did they just see, like, all of, like, Yuna's crew just, like, crash Seymour's wedding? Like, oh, no, the wedding we were all anticipating.
You imagine at the end of, like, Final Fantasy X, Yuna's, like, addressing the people, and she's like, good news, God's not real. Yes!
Does not elaborate, drops mic, leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that. I'm definitely an older person now than like the demographic for this game when it came out, because I'm just like, yeah, I kind of want to know like the fucking, I want the George R.R. Martin cut of this, where it's not so much about like the cool battles and stuff. Like, I want to know the interpolitical relations of like what happened between like the end of the last game and this game to like what does the public know? Like, obviously there's New Yevon and stuff like that. Like, maybe we'll get some of that, but
when the Chancellor addresses like, the Jedi attack on my life has left me disfigured, and like there's like all the propaganda and spinning of like the events to make the I'm curious of like how that went about,
because I feel like with Yuna at the helm, she wouldn't be like on board to like
yeah, she wouldn't be like, yo,
use
fuck the
propaganda and
Guado.
stuff. She'd probably be like, yeah, like this is what happened. Like we found out some fucked up shit. Everything's fine now. Enjoy your eternal calm.
Did we also like kill the Pope or whatever at Bavel? I forget what happened.
Yeah, probably.
The guy was also dead.
Yeah, Bartandalus, we killed him.
And we told Shalinda to, yo, tell everyone to start singing this song.
Yeah.
That worked out.
But yeah, there is a guy walking around in Guado Salam that you can talk to.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. We did. I apologize. We didn't kill him because he was already dead. That was the the twist.
True. Yeah. So everyone in the fucking game.
Yeah, everybody. Isn't anybody in this dadgum cemetery dead?
Yeah, but there is a guy who kind of has I don't know if it's like a different outlook on like all the Guado stuff, but his interpretation of it that he talks about is that like the Guado are apparently like they retreated to some like woods somewhere, and he suspects or they said that they were fearing retaliation from the Ronso, and that's why they left. And I feel like that kind of makes sense because like
that's true. That is true.
When we fought Seymour in Final Fantasy X, he was like, I have slaughtered like I think he said all of the Ronso.
Yeah, he says all. Yeah,
was clearly not the case.
No, he was wrong.
They're still Ronso. They're still around and stuff.
All the ones that were there.
Yeah, all the ones that were near him.
He didn't even take out Biron and Yankee. Come on.
Yeah, fucking. He made us do that shit.
That's right.
I do like we as the intro cutscene goes on, we do see some goons hanging out in front of Seymour's old mansion.
Yes, we do. We see the LeBlanc Syndicate goons.
Yeah,
they've taken over Seymour's mansion. Supposedly, I mean, probably so.
Yeah, there is mention of that, and if we're in the airship, let me see if I can pull it up here as well.
Yeah, if you're in the airship, Payne does says they say LeBlanc jacked some empty house and made it her hideout.
Yeah, okay. God, we love to see a queen winning.
Hell yeah, dude. It's a better use of it. She probably has like kick-ass fucking feasts there as well.
Oh yeah,
I will never forget that feast.
Do they still have the cool projection system there where they kind of give us the whole like every Final Fantasy needs the weird like astral like PowerPoint system.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, they give us like a tour of Xenarkhan. So yeah.
But yeah,
the first thing I did is because I needed to rest up is I went into the inn.
Is that the place where you can ask for like
a place to relax?
Not,
yeah, it's like
you can ask them for.
It's a good day. What do you need? And then to the person behind the inn counter, and I said a place to rest. And he's like, "There's a chair right behind you."
You fucker!
It's a whole big pile of them over there.
Is that also the place that you go that the person's like, or you can ask them like, "Yo, what info do you have?"
Yeah, and they say, "I am sorry, my lady, I have nothing new at the moment."
Yeah, because if you talk to a bunch of the there's no Guado here, but it is popping. Like, there is stuff happening in Guado Salam. There's quite a few people here. And one of them tells you, he's like, yeah, this is like the place for sphere hunters to hang out now. Like, people who are like treasure hunters, mercenaries, sphere hunters, we all hang out at Guado Salam. It's like the happening place to be. So if you want information, this is the place to come get it.
Yeah. There's if you were traveling there by airship, it will say, sphere hunters have moved in on the deserted city of the Guado. I hear LeBlanc's got her chateau down there. So she just straight up was like, this is mine now.
Love that.
This place fucking rocks.
Love that. Love that. Love to see the redistribution of wealth.
Yeah. There's a shop, like an item shop here that looks like it has some really good items, but we see the NPC who looks like Wedge from Final Fantasy VII is standing in there, and if you talk to him, he's like, I don't trust this shop. Something's off about this place. And then the shopkeeper's like, I think he's like, your prices are doubled now. I think he says something like, no, there's nothing worth buying in this shop. And then he's like, something about this is off. And like, it has a bunch of good equipment. I meant to look up like what the deal with that is, if it's actually like a scam or something.
Yeah, I didn't look it up.
A wretched hive of scum and villainy over here. It feels very like...
Although, you know, they do have like... They have the inn, they have homes, they have LeBlanc Chateau, they have the far plane, all within like 100 feet of each other. And this kind of smart, walkable, mixed-use urbanism is illegal to build in most American cities.
It is nice. However, it was really hard for me to find the fucking thunder plains because I just kept going around in circles. It's like, okay, yes, we need walkable cities, but we don't have to follow the New Jersey model of having everything be a fucking like roundabout or like a jug handle. Like you got to go right to go left or down or something. I'm like, I don't need that shit.
Fix your streets.
Let me, come on, Guado Salam.
But there is one thing that you need to do here to get 100%, besides just entering and seeing the intro cutscene. You need to go up to the entrance to the far plane, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which we're not allowed to enter. We can't go into it or anything like that. But before we go up to it, Yuna stops and she says, that's where the far plane is. That's where they say the souls of the dead are, right? I've thought about going in there. She's talking to like Titus's memory, right? I thought about going in there to see if I could see you there. But I never have, and I don't think I ever will. And I was like, "That's really good. I really like that a lot."
Yeah, it's really sweet and really sad.
Because I mean, I think we got like certainty on it, right? In the first game, that like those are not, you're not talking to the spirits of the dead. Those are fireflies who are constituting themselves into a memory that you have, right?
Right.
So like, even if she wwent in there and saw Titus, that would not be Titus. That's just fireflies. Yeah.
I am only your imagination. I cannot give you any new information. And then I think the guy who's like telling us like it's not just like an arbitrary reason that we can't go into the far plane. The in-universe reason is the guy's like, hey, like shit's real fucked up in there. Like it's kind of like starting to break down. It hasn't been maintained in a while, and the only people who know how to do it are the Guado. So like it's volatile in there. You don't want to go in there.
Lord, it's a mess in there.
He took a shit in there and he went, "Woo, do not go in there." Yeah.
Team of people in hazmat suits coming out of the far plane. Oh, it's a mess. Yeah. So that's really all there is to do in Guado Salam, right?
Yeah, you can't go into the chateau because the guards are going to keep you. It feels very Don Corneo right now.
It does.
Like,
Yeah.
But we can pass on through to the Thunder Plains, where there is about an equal amount to do. There is an intro cutscene here.
Very empty.
It's very empty. But the Thunder Plains has quote unquote been fixed by the Albed. Somebody in Guado Salam says that. And it's like, yeah, the Albed fixed the Thunder Plains. Thunder doesn't just strike anywhere. You don't have to dodge 200 lightning bolts anymore to get the ultimate weapons. It's not a thing you have to worry about. Instead, they put in DDR cabinets that we'll find out about in Chapter 5.
Nice. I can't wait, even though I feel like you already said that game sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. But, well, they're all good except for the last one. Anyway, never mind. We'll worry about that when we get there. Basically, the Albed have put up these towers that but basically intercept the lightning strikes, right? So like there's still thunder, there's still lightning, but they're all striking the towers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a cute little bit of story here as well when we first walk in.
Right.
It is cute.
So yeah, we kind of just get establishing shots, you know, panning around of the Thunder Plains. We see some thunder and lightning. We see it hitting these towers and they're, you know, turning red and stuff like that. I think it's, and again, this is Yuna talking to Titus, just kind of like, you know, Twin Peaks, like Diane, like just talking to someone as narration, but...
Guess what? Riku finally overcame her fear of thunder. Know how? She said she camped out here for a week.
I love that.
So she was just like, dude, fuck this shit. I don't want to be afraid of this anymore. I'm just going to like set up a tent and like brute force my way through my fear. And now she's not afraid anymore.
Love to see a queen winning.
Hell yeah.
But there are like enemies and that you can fight here if you want to like level up some or whatever. On the other end of this is the Macalania Woods, right? So, and the Macalania Woods, heads up, a little fair warning. Those enemies are hard as fuck right now.
Yeah,
they are rough.
If you look at it on the airship, it's like the highest difficulty of any of the areas that we've been to so far.
Yeah, it's rough.
And the Thunder Plains, I know there's some elementals.
Yeah, the lightning elementals, which I think are weak to water, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Opposite Pokemon rules.
Thunder and water, fire and ice.
Right.
Yeah.
I fought an Ochu, which is
I
fun
also
to see
fought
him
an
again.
Ochu. It's pretty tough.
Big boy.
That's Spanish for 8. No?
Yeah.
All right. I tried.
Rin's Travel Agency is still here.
Yeah, Rin's Travel Agency is still there. Yeah. He's still grinding away making that money.
Hell yeah.
You know, he's not here, but his associates are.
He's too busy playing Sphere Break, baby.
Yeah.
He's at Evo.
Yeah, there's those dragon-looking things. Oh yeah, under that like awning, you can find an ether. There's a little break in the path. I forgot what it is. It almost looks like a little like a shade. Speaking
of using ethers, I have found a disappointing amount of enemies on whom the MP drain skill does not work.
Damn.
For Yuna. I'm always just like, man, why even give me this tool if it fucking doesn't work on anybody? This sucks.
That was the pro strat last game, so no such luck this time.
That's right. But yeah,
by last game I mean Final Fantasy 2, the last one that we covered, not Final Fantasy 10.
But yeah, there's really not that much to do here. There's no other like interactions to have. There's no other
it's pretty empty.
It's pretty empty.
Ochu's not like the worst if you have like flame tongue or whatever for the fire attack. Or, fire moves.
Flame Eater,
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, did we talk about what the gun mage does?
Not at all.
No, I did not fuck around with that at all.
Sorry.
Even though that, I think I never got like a screenshot of that and I didn't try it out because I was like, that sounds like the coolest fucking combination of words that I can think of.
That is like I feel like that's like the most exciting thing is in this entire game is the jobs. And we were like, yeah, you get gun mage, whatever, fuck it. Who care? But yeah, you're right. Let's talk about gun mage.
Since there's not much to talk about in this area, let's go back.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. I'm looking at the outfits, and they're all fucking sick.
Love them.
So they are kind of like, they're magical, but kind of have goofy looking like space guns.
It's very hard to describe the style of the gun mage.
I already did. Cool as fuck.
They kind of look like, they look like mages, like the black mages, except kind of more revealing instead of more they're kind of somewhere between like the songstress and the black mage in terms of design.
They sort of look like they could fit in Final Fantasy VIII.
I can see that, like the sorceresses,
like Payne's similar. Like cool like full length arm gloves that are like fur, like black fur at her shoulders. That's really sick. That's a good look.
But they're kind of like the blue mage of this game. They get they can have we played a game with blue mages yet?
I don't think we have, no.
Holy shit. I think that like every game we're going to play from here on out is going to have one. We just have chosen to pick all the ones without.
You guys are seeing the through line now. We've specifically chosen these games because we want to do nothing but blue mages from here on out.
They're like the enemy skill materia in Final Fantasy VII. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically they learn.
So yeah, I guess we did do it
skills
in Final Fantasy VII, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, and like Kimahri could do this, right?
True. Yeah.
So so they learn enemy skills and then they are able to use them on the enemy. But that's not all they can do. They also have like several other functions, I guess, as well.
Their main skill set is called Fiend Hunter, in which they have like very specific, I think, ammunition that deals very specific damage to different types of enemies. Right?
Also very FF8.
That's pretty cool. I'm looking at some of the different abilities, like Shell Cracker for, it looks like damage to helms, anti-aircraft, which does like...
Blue Bullet.
Which did stuff to birds and wasps, Silver Bullet, Flan Eater.
What a fresh take on the Blue Mage. Blue Bullet... the description of it is attack with bullets containing fiend skills. So it's just, you're like, oh man, fucking got hit by bad breath. Now I'm going to put that shit in bullets and shoot it at people.
Shot with the bullet that makes you breath stinky.
I wonder if we'll have a...
Do they have Reeves baby bullets?
That's what I was going to say. I wonder if we're going to have some sort of like parallel to the baby bullets from Dirge of Cerberus.
That's super cool, though.
Yeah, and then they also have like scan too, so you can like.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
skill with them,
is that a thing? That's cool because I always love having that skill. Is that like required for bestiary shit? Because that is when I stop liking the scan thing. When it's like, oh, you have to scan every fucking enemy.
I don't think so, and it's actually interesting that you say that because Alex, I'm gonna need your help with this one. My understanding is that we received a very long email about the creature creator. And bestiary in that, right? Because there's no like conventional bestiary that we can look at, but there is the creature creator where we can go look at it.
Which is that is a thing that is only in the
actually there might be a bestiary. I think Shinra might have a bestiary. But anyways, it's all Shinra stuff. Sorry, what were you saying?
Thank you to Dude McAwesome.
Hell yeah.
Dude McAwesome. Thank you so much.
Do in fact rock.
Yeah, so this listener sent us a giant email about the ins and outs of Creature Creator. At least enough for us to like try it out, I guess, and like kind of like start learning the ins and outs of it. But basically it's just like a more thorough kind of tutorial, I guess, that they sent us. Would you say that?
Better than Shinra?
A tutorial better than Shinra's, right?
And don't take that the wrong way. That we know that is a very low bar. That should not discredit Dude McAwesome's wonderful guide.
Absolutely.
It's a lot better than we made it sound by comparing it to shameful Shinra.
Yeah.
That kid knows everything.
Yeah, I know everything.
But you know what, though? Now I'm thinking about it. I think that there is a separate bestiary that Shinra has. So I am going to put that to the test and go scan an enemy and see what it do, because I don't know the answer to that yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I did scan an enemy. I'm wondering what it did. Do I have my game running?
Find out next time.
But Gun Mage. That's cool. What a cool skill.
But I think as far as like the story goes, though, right? Like as far as like the locations and getting 100% goes, that's probably where we're going to end it today. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, it's pretty somewhat short, but next time we're going to be just slogging through Macalania. Is that next?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, and at this point, you should have 15%, by the way.
Which I do, which makes me hopeful.
And if you don't, that's fine.
Yeah.
It also makes me concerned because I feel like there's a 0.2% somewhere that I'm missing.
There is, yeah. So at Guado Salam, after interacting with the far plane, that's where you should see 15% for the first time.
Yeah, which I didn't, but also I watched a bunch of like Shinra things and talked to a couple of people, and then I had 15%, so I'm like, but I think that was also after the Thunder Plains when I was still at 14, so I don't know.
Who's to say?
I am forgiving myself in advance for whatever I did to fuck up 100%.
You ever think it's fucked up that bestiary is spelled bestiary?
I do.
Every time I see it,
think about that
like,
often, actually.
Yeah, every time I see it, I'm just like, what the fuck?
I can't get over these guns that the gun mages have. Riku's kind of looks like it's like a kid's toy, like a Nerf gun that has like a ribbon at the end of it, but the ribbon is in like a circular
Have you ever seen
shape.
those guns that shoot like cylinders? Like, because they're like, they kind of spin? I feel like that was a thing in like the 90s.
Maybe.
I have no idea.
Missed opportunity giving not giving one of them a t-shirt gun that shoots t-shirts.
They could kill Maud Flanders with it.
Yeah, exactly. You can put fiend skills into the shape of a t-shirt and shoot it at them.
Brother could definitely use one.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll be it. So next time, what are we doing after? I think Macalania took a lot of time for me, but I think we can probably do a little more than that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as you said, like that, it's just it's a slog, and the enemies are pretty heavy.
And there's also like 2 separate missions here too. There's a lot to talk about. There's a different flavor of Dress Sphere. There's 2 missions in Macalania. There's a lot going on that we're gonna have to talk about during that.
There's a return of our favorite race.
Indeed.
Oh, hell yeah, the musician.
Mm-hmm.
Let's at least, I think next time we can either go up to probably the Calmlands.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe probably to the
Calmlands,
Calmlands.
yeah. Looks like a couple more, like, easy things. You know, if we go too long, you know, we'll...
And when we get to the Calmlands, we can get to the point of the game where I say, this game is bad now, actually. If you're trying to get 100%, the game has gone from being a delight, a romp, to this sucks, and it's going to suck for the rest of the game.
Nice. Great.
Until Chapter 5, Calmlands, when we can finally put it to bed.
Nice.
So I can't wait for that. The Calmlands, hated those minigames in Final Fantasy X, but my god, if they are not worse than Final Fantasy X-2, in my opinion.
In the same, well, I'm gonna just pretend I didn't hear any of that because you know how much I fucking hate the Calmland minigames. But I also want to say that we talked, we laid the groundwork for going to the Beaconell Desert and participating in the dig, and we're excited about that. But I do want to point out what is said in the guide here, which is, I highly recommend digging only once to complete the mission, or you might lose the 100%.
Yes.
So only dig once, no matter if you want to like play around with it and stuff. Like, I feel like I am so stressed about trying to get 100% that I am not like experiencing the game as I normally would, and I'm like locking myself out of other shit. Like, that's why I originally was like, well, I don't want to go back to the airship to go to the moon flow because I might miss out on something. I'm just going to talk to every NPC that I come across. I'm going to walk through, maybe get some battles in, you know, it'll be fine. And that's why I got fucked up. It's like I am Sideshow Bob, and I am encircled by rakes right now. Just like...
Yeah, specifically the desert, and we'll talk about it more when we get to there next week. But as you excavate things, you get cutscenes for the amount of excavation that you've done later at Djose Temple. And so if you excavate everything now, you just lose out on the first ones.
Oh, I see.
Damn.
Yep.
You don't want to skip all that good.
Yeah, so...
I have another... shaved Hypello situation again.
The way I usually play games is like, oh cool, a new mini game, let me sink like 2 hours into this, and just unless it's one of the Comland ones, and then I'm like, I have to sink 2 hours into this, and I
actually like this mini game in Beacon L Desert. I think it's pretty good, but we'll talk about it when we get there.
I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm like, oh, I feel like I would want, like, if I was just coming up to this and playing it without looking at the guide and looking ahead, I would be like, oh yeah, let me do a couple of matches here, like let me do this a couple of times and see how it is. So I'm really glad there's that disclaimer, because it's very much like a lot of the things in this game, it's very counterintuitive.
All right, well, Alex, would you shave us, please?
I would be delighted.
I just realized this is also it's the first time I went clean shaven in like over a year. So it's a fitting timing, unplanned.
Oh crap, hold on.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I can go into a little more detail about why I'm clean shaven, and it is because I went to a concert, and it was a Halloween tour that it was in November when I went, but I did dress up in costume, and my costume was Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit fame. So I shaved my beard to have the shitty little goatee that he had.
Good job, buddy.
And you were noticed by the band.
I was. Maybe Alex can cut in that that soundbite of Rhodey Walker from Protest the Hero noticing me as Fred Durst and saying that. I'll just let the dialogue play because it speaks for itself. But it worked out the best way I could have possibly wanted it to.
Fred Durst? Yeah. That's an easy costume because you can walk away from here and just be like, whatever, dude. I'm just some fucking douchebag. I do think Fred Durst has made a 180, though. He's pretty cool now.
Well, thank you all for listening and joining us on this mildly eventful episode. Strolling from Djose.
We learned a lot about math.
We waited in line.
We learned about couches. We learned about bureaucracy. We learned a little bit about ourselves waiting in line. You know, that builds character, you know.
The machine.
Machinas, just machines.
It's all the same.
I'd like to imagine someone might be like grocery shopping as they're listening to this episode, and they were just standing in line at a grocery store and listened to us talk about standing in line in the game. We're through the looking glass here, people.
Well, this also reminded me, just because we were talking about spheres, different dress spheres, that someone pointed out that train in Finnish is Una.
Wait.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Holy shit.
Oh, the word train in Finnish. Okay, got you.
I'm not even going to fact check that.
J-U-N-A. It's spelled J-U-N-A. Una. So it's Una, the Una-Una.
The Una-Una.
The Una-Una. Hell yeah. That's amazing. I was like, I'm not even going to fact check that. I'm just going to believe that for the rest of my life.
It's good. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Thank you to Norikito Matsuda and Takahito Oguchi for the game music. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you're listening to us. And you can find us at EveryFNFF on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, and hop into our Discord. And I've been podcasting here for so long, but nobody shaves me.
All right, Alex has got to hop onto doo-doo duty of making this shit sound good.
All right, see y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you.